YouTube, how's it going? The GOAT House is back with another NFL offseason rebuild video. Doing this for every single team going in draft order. We are on the Carolina Panthers. I'm going to play GM. I'm going to make some cuts. We'll take a look at the cap situation going in the free agency. I'll re-sign some players and attempt to sign some major free agents there in this 2020 offseason. And then we'll do a 7-round mock draft. I may surprise people with who I selected for the Panthers with the 7th overall pick. We'll get into that. Two channels. This channel, the new channel, GOAT House Plus. Please subscribe to that. There's a link in the description in the comments. And then follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Daily posts. Link down below as well. Would really appreciate a follow. And then our Patreon link with extra content is in the description. First thing I like to do in these videos, kind of break down the depth chart and give you my evaluation on the team real quick. Guys in red are free agents. Looking at receiver, to me, they need more help. Some people don't really think that. They definitely need more help. I like DJ Moore a lot. I love his game. But that's you really can, Curtis Samuel's a solid receiver, but you can get better. It's kind of one of those things where you can't be afraid to get better. I think there could be a better number 2 receiver. Curtis Samuel should be the number 3, which these days it feels like there's 3 number 1 receivers on every team. So, other than that, yeah, they definitely can get better. And then offensive line, it's tough because you have guys that, I kind of believe in, but the offensive line play definitely needs to be better. Greg Little, I think it was a solid pick. He can definitely be the starting left tackle of the future. And Taylor Moton, has had his moments where you like him and then one moment you don't like him too much. The only strong part is really Trey Turner. Matt Paradis, solid center. You may need to get Van Roten back. The offensive line could be better, but there is parts that I kind of like about it. Tight ends, you could use another one, but you look at Matt Rule's offenses. They haven't really, and I know it's Joe Brady's offense too. They haven't really featured the tight end a whole bunch. So Ian Thomas could be enough, really, and then having Manhurts as well. But I do like to bring up that I do like the hiring of Matt Rule and Joe Brady. I love that. I absolutely love that. You got Cam Newton, so we'll talk about that. What's the move you make with Cam Newton? We'll get into that. You could use a running back. Jordan Scarlett, I loved his tape at Florida last year. It's just we need to kind of see him, in action more there, and he needs to stay, out of trouble off the field, which we've seen in the past. And then there are some holes on defense. Like, you can get better on the defense line. Kawan Short's been disappointing. I love the Brian Burns pick. Shaq Thompson is, solid to me. Other than that, you could get better. I do like Christian Miller, though. I like Haynes for depth. Christian Miller, I think, will step up. And then you got some key free agents there in the secondary that we're going to break down. But first, anybody that would like to cut or trade, just cuts here. Dontari Poe, I'm cutting. Nose tackle, a solid nose tackle, doesn't make enough of an impact while you have $9.8 million on the line here. Something to keep in mind, after they roll out the guarantees, right when free agency starts, they'll have around $31.7 million in cap. That's not enough. It's not a small number, obviously, but it's not enough for a team that, to me, is in rebuild mode, but a team that it could be a rapid rebuild mode, if you get what I'm saying. So you need more cap than that, especially with some needs, really. So Poe, I cut. Jarius Wright, I cut $3 million. Mike Davis, I think they definitely will cut $3 million. Colin Jones, it's not a whole bunch you save there, but you'll need it. Not a guy that you really need to keep around. So then it bumps up to $48.6 million. So I think these are musts, really. And then you're looking to re-sign some guys. I think they'll have some battles for James Bradbury. I think we talked about that. We did in the Redskins video. I think the Redskins will be going in for him. I'm trying to do it if I'm certain teams like the Redskins, like the Panthers. Bring him back. He had a pretty good year, better than expected. Still a young corner, could even get better. Vernon Butler, once they switched defenses for the first year, more of a 3-4 look. Vernon Butler, was looking like a bust up until this year. He looked pretty solid. I don't think he'll be overly expensive. He's still young. You get him more experience in this defense if you continue to go that route, which I think they will. I think Brian Burns is kind of the key piece there. I think him being a 3-4 outside linebacker along with Christian Miller keeps it at that 3-4 defense, even though it's a different staff here. So Vernon Butler, I would definitely bring back. And then Ross Cockrell, he's a veteran in this league. I think he's a very good nickel back, very good slot corner, and was very solid for them last year. And it's hard to come across the solid one. So I would bring him back. He won't be overly expensive. And then before we get into the major signings, something to keep in mind, we'll bring up Cam Newton too. To me, obviously, it's if you can get like a first-round pick for him, I'm trading him. I don't think you can. I think you can get some decent value for him. Another thing is, where is his health at? But to me, I like Cam Newton. I think even though there's some holes in the team, I think if you have Cam Newton, McCaffrey, DJ Moore, guys like that, you can win now. You can. So I'm keeping Cam Newton, but it's also still somewhat of a rebuild, retool team that is a future team. I consider a future team. So $48.6 million before re-signing these guys and before going into major signings. That's something to keep in mind. You want to save cap space for the future. You do not want to hurt your future with this team. You do not. You signed Matt Rule for a 7-year deal for a reason. It's somewhat of a rebuild, retool here. You do not want to go crazy in free agency. You just don't want. You would love them to, but you just can't go too crazy here. But a big one to me is DJ Reader. He had a career year. That's a nose tackle, a huge upgrade from Dontari Poe. A big upgrade to me, and this guy's still very young, so he can be a part of that. So I love the fit. I love the idea of it. Not going to be crazy expensive, but it's a big-time signing. Blake Martinez, linebacker from the Packers. I think the Packers will move on from him, possibly. I would like him right next to Shaq Thompson. Martinez is not going to be super flashy. He's going to rack up the tackles, hit those. He's not going to be fantastic in coverage. Shaq Thompson is fantastic in coverage to me for an inside linebacker. So I like the pairing. He's going to help in stopping the run. That's what he's going to help to do here. Another one, like I said, you want to get some good free agents because you can win now, but you don't want to go too crazy. So I think this is kind of one that's right there in the middle. And then Darian Thompson, the same thing, Cowboys safety. I think he's underrated. I thought he was a lot better than people think or talk about him, give him credit for. I think he was a lot better. I thought he actually carried that safety group. To me, it's a guy that I've seen in the past play like center field and be a playmaker back there, but then a guy at times that I've seen come up because he pretty much has to or play in the box and play okay. You wish the tackling was a little more consistent if you had to nitpick here. But I think they could use a safety. And that's one that I would like for them there. And then we go into the draft, and you see I held on to Cam Newton. You see I didn't sign a quarterback, but I go to the draft, and I go that route. I'm a Jordan Love fan. It's very, very risky. This guy has insane potential. I think only certain quarterbacks can win a Super Bowl, and you have to find that quarterback through the draft. He has to have the big play potential. He has to be... he has to have the right coaches too, and I think they have the right coaches here. I think they have the ability here to play Jordan Love behind Cam Newton for a year. Possibly look to do with Cam Newton next year with Matt Rule, with Joe Brady, and building around the team and around the quarterback and free agency in the draft. I think this is a great spot for Jordan Love in this offense with this team. I love the idea of it. There's some risk, but there was risk trading up for Patrick Mahomes. There was risk in all those moves. You cannot win a Super Bowl unless you take risks, and you cannot, to me, I think it's been proven this year, especially you just can't win unless you have you almost could say elite quarterback, but I'll say a top-tier quarterback. Is Love going to be that right away? Oh, there's no chance right away. But he has that ability, and I think it is a perfect fit. It's a perfect situation. Matt Rule and this staff with a 7-year deal. I like it. Marlon Davidson, I love as a 3-4 end on their defense. There's some people out there, I'm surprised, because some of the other draft experts, I love listening to them at times, certain ones, but there's some people out there that think Marlon Davidson could be an edge rusher in a 3-4. I'd say that's completely wrong. I'm the only one that doesn't think he's that. To me, he's an end no matter what. He's a 4-3 end or a 3-4 end. I like him at 3-4 end, right in front of Brian Burns or Christian Miller. I like the idea of that. Very strong guy, going to be very solid in the run game first, and then he'll get after the quarterback. Tyler Biadasz, who is, I guess, dropping a little bit, maybe not as an impressive a season as we once thought he would have. A guy that can play center or guard, so I think could start at guard right away. You could bump him to center if Paradis isn't working out. So, I think too good to pass at pick 69. Brian Edwards, I like a lot for the Panthers. That's a type of receiver they need out of South Carolina, the big body receiver. That's what they need. They got guys that can stretch the field, but they need that big body receiver out there, kind of that Devin Funchess. I think Edwards has potential to be much better than Devin Funchess even. I would really like that. And then, it'd be something if Matt Rule can get his hands on his guy, Denzel Mims. I love Denzel Mims. You may have to use that 38th pick on him to get him, so that's something to look out for, too. Michael Divinity Jr., the edge rusher from LSU, a sleeper pass rusher because he missed a chunk of this year as well, but a lot of upside for sure. Yeah, I think he kind of can rotate, he'd be part of that rotation with Burns and Miller and Haynes. And if they do want to bring Mario Addison back, but he's kind of aging, if he's cheaper, you can bring him back. Then Antoine Brooks Jr., just a depth safety from Maryland. I think they could get better at the safety position, but they could look to do it down here. And then Scott France, another tackle for depth from Kansas State. Panthers are interesting, and what I like, I'm always a believer in taking the best player available. Sometimes quarterbacks, it's not really the case, but because we talked about quarterbacks and what they mean to teams and what they could provide. But for the most part, I think the Panthers will be in the market of going best player available because that's what they should do because they do have a lot of needs. You can order this any way. You can put offensive line at the top. You can drop defensive line at the bottom. What order they take guys based off need. That's not how I think you should play it. That's not how I think they'll play it, especially with Matt Rule. Rule is that type of guy. He's going to get the best football players, regardless of position, unless there's a quarterback of the future there, which in that case, in this case, that's what I kind of have there with Jordan Love. And then keep in mind, too, at Love, not the best situation this past year at Utah State. I think he'll be much better with the better talent around him. I like the upside of him. He's not going to be 7th on my board, but being a quarterback and the upside, I like Jordan Love a lot. I really do. Certain situations, though. I would not like him in other situations. I like the idea of this, behind Cam Newton possibly. Even if they don't have Cam Newton, it's possible. So the Cam Newton thing's really intriguing. We'll watch out for that. What needs will come off the board first for the Panthers. To me, best player available. They're in a perfect situation to do it. Can't wait to see what they do this offseason. Again, going through every single NFL team, going in draft order. We'll get to your team. We got the combine coming up. We got free agency coming up. We're pumped. We got you covered. Nobody covers the NFL like the Goat House. Please subscribe to both of our channels. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram. There's a link in the description and the comments for all of that. Would really appreciate you checking all that out. It's going to do it, though. It's going to do it for this one. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.